I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option. As Sori says, $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. $125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at itsori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
They do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed. A child shall lead them.
To buy our merch.
Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener.
All right. So we have Metlcat in the house. DJ Metlcat.
DJ Metlcat.
A very interesting stream because he says... Well, the name of the stream is Metlcat's Non-Metal Extravaganza. He said that we're doing the 4 songs based on the stuff I listen to 10% of the time when I'm not listening to metal. So the first song up on his list is going to be William Elliott Whitmore, Digging My Grave. Whoops.
Yeah, and hold on.
And also we're getting we have a little visitor in the stream.
Bap. Yes.
Here's the visitor. This is Leela, Metlcat's kitty. Aww.
That's the kitty named Leela. Okay, guys. As you can see there, when you're the DJ, it is your day. There's the icon. There's the flyer. Everything is specialized to your desire, dear listener. So there we go. Also. No, not our collab. You got to jump on the next joint. You got to jump on the next song, bro. I just released 4th of You live, but you were out there doing whatever. Okay, here we go. The moment has arrived. First song is...
William Elliott Whitmore, Digging My Grave.
Digging My Grave. All right, let's do this shit, guys. Let's go. Can you hear?
No. Here we go.
Are you filming right now?
I am.
Okay.
This is real.
How's it going, everybody? Oh, I didn't expect it. No shit. Check 1, 2.
Is that what he's doing?
I think that's what he's doing.
Oh. I'm like, this is an odd beginning.
All right. We're going to get... I promise I'm going to play some songs.
It's a banjo, right?
I promise.
Looks like it. I'm not really super familiar. Banjo.
Find out.
I'm digging my grave. background is mighty hard. Oh Lord, I wish that I hadn't sinned. Oh Lord, I wish I hadn't sinned. Then I could be with you again. Oh Lord, I wish I hadn't sinned. In the holy shadow where I must lay, in the holy shadow, but that's okay, 'cause I'll have peace on my final day. Oh, down in this shallow hole where I must lay, and this firewater is mighty cold. And this firewater is mighty cold, and God will never rest my soul. Down in this firewater so cold, well, I'm digging my grave, I'm digging my grave, and my road to hell is surely paved with all the love that I never gave. Well, I'm digging my grave, oh Lord, I'm digging my grave. Well, I'm digging my grave, oh Lord, I'm digging my own grave.
I bet you,
Thank you guys. Thank you.
I bet you this is a song Sadie would really love.
Figures, she's not here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
so this is Blues Grass? Is that...
Is this live? I don't know. Is it live? Who knows? Bluesgrass? You mean bluegrass?
I don't know, somebody just said Blues Grass.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, Bluegrass, yeah.
Bluegrass is a type of like country, right?
I
It's a specific
don't know.
kind of style.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, yeah, of course. I just... It had a sort of country sound to me.
Yeah, it definitely sounded like you were like by some creek. Did you ever read Huckleberry Finn, Tom Sawyer, any of that stuff? That's like classic American literature. I'm so surprised that your
We
mom
weren't
didn't
supposed
have
to
you-
watch... we couldn't read classic stuff.
Tom Sawyer, Huckleberry Finn. That's like Americana.
That one, they probably would have let us. I don't know. I didn't really have an interest in reading stuff anyway, so it's not like I was pushing for it.
I'm really blown away by the sonic range that the folks in our community have, because like before I discovered Korn, it was like straight hip hop. That was it.
Mm-hmm.
When I discovered Korn, I completely abandoned hip hop and like dove head first. Like I now obviously my palette is much more extended. Although I will say, it really isn't, because it's still metal. It's just sometimes I'm in a progressive mood. Like when I want to do some science on my guitar, I'll listen to a bunch of Neo. Sometimes I'm in a contemplative mood, so I'll listen to a lot of Magua. You know what I'm saying? Like, but it's still within metal itself. Whereas these guys are listening to like BTS, all the, you know what I'm saying? And now this stuff, and I don't know if it's because they're picking it and we know them, so we're biased toward liking it, or maybe it's not that I'm biased toward liking it, but my bias against it is lowered if it's somebody like Metlcat or Pony or whoever that likes a different kind of genre. My bias against it is immediately lowered because it's somebody from our community. So I'm like, oh, okay, there's got to be something that we both like about it.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So you give it a little bit more of a chance?
Yeah, give it more of a chance. I don't believe like you can listen. I don't believe in neutrality or unbiasedness at all on any topic, but especially when it's something as almost completely subjective as art. I don't believe that you can enter into a piece and not have a certain bias about it. You know what I'm saying? So I am biased against what I think country music is, or folk, American folk or whatever. But because it's coming from somebody in our crew, I'm more likely to sit back and go, actually, let me give this a shot, which is what happened with this song.
I see. That makes sense.
And lyrically,
Let's Go Bacon. Everybody's saying we've done that song. I'm looking in our thing and I'm not coming across it, so I don't know if I'm missing something.
Amy has the link.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'm certain we did that one. That's another one that got us blocked.
Oh, is it?
Falling in Reverse. They're crazy with the copyright stuff. Okay.
Why did it come up in my search? That's
what did
so
you think the
weird.
song was about?
Thank you, Amy. Well, I mean, he's talking about his life and, making decisions, not loving people the way that he could have or should have. And then I was a little bit confused, believe it or not, about the shallow grave thing, because at the beginning...
The hole is shallow where I must lay, yeah.
Well, he's talking about the road to hell is paved with all the love that he never gave.
That's a good line.
Yeah.
Such a good line.
Yeah. But then he says, and the hole is made with a pick and spade, and all the debts never repaid. Oh, how I wish that I could have stayed, but the hole is made. It's made. But then he said, oh, yeah, okay. And the hole is shallow where I must lay. The hole is shallow, but that's okay, because I have peace. Because I'll have peace on my final day, down in the shallow hole where I must lay. I don't understand what he's talking about. What do you mean?
I interpreted that he's digging his grave as in he's just living life.
Oh, so he's reaping what he's sowing right now?
Well, no, he's digging his own grave in the sense that everybody's digging their own grave. You're born dying.
Yeah.
And so there's, the idea of digging your own grave is you're doing something that's going to guarantee your death. That's what the term digging your own grave means. And also there are, certain groups that part of their execution ritual is that you dig your own grave before they execute you. Psychologically to whatever. But I just interpreted digging my grave to mean that everybody's digging their own grave because everybody's going to die eventually.
Yeah, but he says, well, Lord, I wish that I hadn't sinned, that I could be with you again. Oh, I wish I hadn't sinned. But back, 2 places before, he says, but that's okay because I'll have peace on my final day. I don't understand. You're going to have peace on your final day, but you're saying you've sinned and you're not going to see God?
Well, he didn't say I'm not going to see you.
I wish that I hadn't sinned, that I could be with you again.
Yeah. So I think he's talking about his current experience. He feels alienated from God, which is also what I think he means by saying that his grave is shallow. That is to say, he's still got time to go. That he feels like, he's not having a happy time right now, but he knows he has other time to go. That's why his grave is shallow. Mm-hmm. But if you go up, he still acknowledges the bad deeds that he's done, which is really brilliant because to finish the phrase, it's my road to hell is surely paved. Well, the phrase is the road to hell is paved with good intentions. That's the phrase. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. Have you ever heard that before?
Yeah.
So, that's a sort of colloquial wisdom that says you can feel like you're doing the right thing when in reality you're raising hell. So for example, we talked about this yesterday where it was oh, we're going to go in Iraq and we're going to spread democracy to people. Uh-huh. And in isolation, as a Western person, I think a democracy is a better governmental template than let's say Sharia in the Salafist sense, right? So spreading democracy to the Middle East in isolation is a good thing. It's a good intention because I intend to impose democracy on people that I think are living a terrible life. But in reality, how do you implement that? It means that you kill 1 million people and then now you have a constant military presence in a particular area, right? So that would be an example of the road to hell being paved with good intentions. Oh, it's good. We want to bring democracy to these people. And your motivation might have been genuinely good, but the way you brought about that good intention was you killed a whole bunch of people, and now it just so happens that your military has to have a continuous presence. So that's the phrase, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. But it kind of protects you in the sense that It's not that you were a capitalist, colonialist bastard. That's not why you did that to those people. You did that to those people because you originally started out with good intentions. But what he does here is, no, that's bullshit. The road to hell is paved not with good intentions, but because your capacity for love is not where it needs to be. Look at the line. My road to hell is surely paved with all the love I never gave. That's the problem. It's not that you're just such a good person and you didn't factor in other counterfactuals. No, the reason the road to hell is paved with good intentions is because you didn't have good intentions. You didn't love the person enough. So I thought that was really brilliant lyric writing and a good way to ironically deal with that supposed paradox in human experience, that the road to hell is paved with good intentions, because I don't believe that it is. But go ahead.
Well, he says the hole is made with a pick and a spade, and all the debts I never repaid. But then he talks about having a shallow grave. So it almost sounds like he's saying, I've done good, but I haven't done real bad. I didn't dig a really deep grave with all the debts I never repaid.
Yeah, I mean, this guy, the way he writes is really brilliant because there's a lot of different ways that you could interpret this. For me, the digging of the grave is just living life itself with the understanding that you're going to die one day. And, you know, if a person says, oh, I'm in deep shit, that's kind of the idea, is like the depth of the thing is how far down you are in it. So while he's thinking about death and he's contemplating his own death, at this point the ground is shallow because he still has more years to go, is how I'm interpreting it. Well, this July ground is mighty hard. The July ground is mighty hard. My back is broken, my hands are scarred. This July ground is mighty hard. How'd you interpret that?
Well, again, if I'm going to go with what I was saying before, that he's saying the pick and the spade are the debts he didn't repay, and he didn't make a super shallow grave, but I mean, I don't know. The July ground is mighty hard, so he's having a hard time to dig his grave in July.
My back is broken, my hands are scarred. This July ground is mighty hard. And I wish I hadn't sinned, that I could be with you again. The hole is shallow where I must lay, because I'll have peace on my final day. The Iowa dirt is mighty cold, and God will never rest my soul down in this Iowa dirt so cold. Maybe
he's talking about how you reap what you sow, and so he's saying that, you know, it's difficult when he doesn't pay back debts, or he doesn't love people as he should. It's difficult to do those things, and so that forces him to dig a more shallow grave. But that he thinks that at the end that his intention is not to end his life like that, but that his intention is to make things right the more that time progresses.
Yeah. But his relationship with God doesn't end well in the song, because the last thing he says is that God will never rest his soul. That's the last thing he says about his relationship with God, which is, of course, true. If you are trying to relate to God, well, at least it says it right here. When he talks about the Iowa dirt.
Oh, yeah, the Iowa dirt was over
and
here.
And God will never rest my soul down in this diet. So the last time he mentions God explicitly, it's not a good thing. So, which of course, if you are trying to work to undo the bad that you've done, to try to love in the places that you haven't loved, because here's the thing, is that all these experiences are fleeting. So in reality, you only get one opportunity to love that person in that moment, and that moment's gone. If you say you try to make something up, all you're doing is you're just mortgaging the future. You're just saying, well, in the future, I'm going to do some, but that is a loving thing you did for that person in that moment. That doesn't account for the previous moment. So you only have the present moment to love a person. The past doesn't really exist, and the future, it doesn't exist either.
Right.
Which, you know, Bernardo Castro says none of those things exist because this moment doesn't exist either. Because we're all just the mind at large or whatever. But without going down that way, like,
there is a sense in which the past doesn't exist and the future doesn't exist. So you can never love somebody to make something up. You can never love somebody to make up for the lost love that you didn't do for the person. All you can do is love the person in front of you in that moment and take advantage of that specific moment. So if you're trying to live with God in such a way as to make things up to him, that's going to be impossible. Because the problem with God is that he's ever present and his standards are too high. And it's not because he's irrational, it's because he cannot change his nature. So his nature is perfection. So unless you can be perfect in a moment, we're never going to be good enough for God. So if you try to work towards God, in my view, that's putting yourself on a treadmill, and you will be digging your grave and going to an early grave for no reason. Because in my view, God doesn't relate to us
Like that.
He doesn't relate to us with a ledger where you cancel out debts. He relates to us like children and parents, or parents and children. So anyway, I thoroughly enjoyed the song. It was a deep song. It has a lot of implications for how you live your regular life and your own assessment of yourself.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I think that the guy did a good job. It looked like it was live, so you're just going with what it sounds like from whatever recording they were doing. And it definitely had a good sound to it. It's not, not really my style, even, I like some versions of country. That one was a little bit too, kind of, like church, kind of twangy, kind of something country that I'm not really a giant fan of. But I definitely think the homie did a good job, and his voice was very... I think his voice was perfect for the song itself.
This is a 9.3 for me.
This one's a 6 for me.
Felt the lyrics were really, really challenging lyrics from Metlcat. And this is one of those songs where it's like, I'd like a little 2-sentence blurb from Metlcat as to how he interpreted the song and how he experienced it, which you can if you want, you don't have to, you know what I'm saying? I'm like,
if you send it in an email, I can read it.
I mean, you could just, like I said, just
or
a
put it in
sentence
the
or
chat
two,
if you
we'll
want.
put it up on the chat.
Also, excuse me. Do you like it for the sound, or do you like it more for the lyrics, or do you like just both of them? Anyway.
When he first heard of him, I read that he had a voice that would make a metalhead listen, so that's why I started listening to him.
That's interesting.
So there you are. Okay, guys, we have more non-metal music from DJ Metlcat in our metal channel.
Delta Ray is next.
Delta Ray is next, losers. Vin out.
Sori out.
Go. Okay, guys, we shall return. Commercial break, you know the deal. I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sori says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at insori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is a community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed. A child shall lead them to buy our merch. Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. That's me quoting our little introduction thingamajiggy because my partner in criminal activities is not here, but here she is now. She has returned. My partner in criminal activities has returned, dear listener.
So, up next on our metal extravaganza, non-metal extravaganza, we have Delta Ray, Bottom of the River. And this one, Bottom of the River, that sounds pretty creepy.
Yes. That's what I was looking forward to. All right, Delta Ray, Bottom of the River from the big homie DJ Metlcat. This is his non-metal extravaganza.
This is what he listens
Open your mind,
the
dear
10%
listener.
of the time that he's not listening to metal, this is where he goes.
Open your mind, you dumb butts. Okay, here we go. Delta Ray, Bottom of the River. Also, this one has the lyrics right there on the screen for you, for your listening pleasure. I saw you made a lyric video to our song. That's excellent. And let's do it. Delta Ray, Bottom of the River. Let's go.
Hold my hand, ooh baby, it's a long way down to the bottom of the river. Hold my hand, ooh baby, it's a long way down, a long way down. If you get sleep or if you get night, the cock's gonna call in the morning, baby. And check the cupboard for your daddy's guy. Red sun rises like an early warning. The Lord's gonna come for your firstborn son. His hair's on fire and his heart is burning. So go to the river where the water runs. Wash him deep where the tides are turning. And if you fall, and if you fall, hold my hand. Ooh, baby, it's a long way down to the bottom of the river. Hold my hand. Ooh, baby, it's a long way down, a long way down. The wolves will chase you in the pale moonlight. Drunk and driven by a devil's hunger. Drive your son like a railroad spike into the water, let it pull him under. But though you lift him, let him drown alive. The good Lord speaks like a rolling thunder. Let that fever make the water rise. Let the river run dry. Hold my hand. Ooh, baby, it's a long way down to the bottom of the river. Hold my hand. Ooh, baby, it's a long way down, a long way down. Hold my hand. Ooh, baby, it's a long way, a long, long, long way. Hold my hand. Ooh, baby, it's a long way down, a long way down.
Holy shit! What genre is this? What genre of music is this?
Oh man, I wish we would have seen the music video.
There's a
Apparently,
music video?
the music video depicts a woman.
Whoa.
You gonna play it?
Yeah, I'm gonna try. Hey, Metlcat, do you mind if we play the official music video? Because I mean, it got 7 million views, and let's see what happens. We ain't scared of no ghosts.
Wait, yeah, but what is Metlcat?
Yeah, Metlcat, let me know if you mind us playing the song. Okay, he said go ahead. Plus, the song's only 2 minutes, guys, okay? So, don't be mad. It's only 2 minutes. 2.5 minutes, maybe 3 minutes.
That's deep.
Yeah, we don't cut up the song, so sometimes it gets blocked. The other thing too is that you'll have an option. So if the thing doesn't get blocked, we can go with the.
Oh,
you see what I'm saying?
just cut it out. Yeah.
You can just cut it out.
Yeah.
Okay, here's Delta Ray, Bottom of the River again. I'm so excited to see the actual video. I'm gonna switch it.
Yeah, switch it. Holy shit.
Some Jordan Peele shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Can you make the kitty small?
Huh?
Make the kitty small.
I'm gonna disappear the kitty for a second.
It's a long way down to the bottom of the river. Hold my hand. Ooh, baby, it's a long way down, a long way down. If you get sleep or if you get night,
The cock's gonna call in the morning, baby.
and check the cupboard for your daddy's gun.
Red sun rises like an early warning.
The Lord's gonna come for your firstborn son.
His hair's on fire and his heart is burning.
So go to the river where the water runs.
Wash him deep where the tides are turning.
And if you fall, and if you fall, hold my hand. Ooh, baby, it's a long way down to the bottom of the river. Hold my hand. Ooh, baby, it's a long way down, a long way down. The wolves will chase you by the pale moonlight.
Drunk and driven by a devil's hunger.
Drive your son like a railroad spike
Into the water, let it pull him under.
But though you lift him, let him drown alive.
The good Lord speaks like a rolling thunder.
Let that fever make the water run.
Let the river run dry.
Hold my hand. Ooh, baby, it's a long way down to the bottom of the river. Hold my hand. Ooh, baby, it's a long way down, a long way down. Hold my hand. Ooh, baby, it's a long way, a long, long, long way. Hold my hand. Ooh, baby, it's a long way down, a long way down.
Stay with us. No blockage. No blockage.
Wait a minute.
No blockage.
Wow.
I love that song. That song is on my playlist. If you see me jiggling with my phone, 9.9 times out of 10 it's because I'm adding the song to my playlist. I really, really like this song. I like what they did with the voices. You know, I'm a lot more interested in vocals now that you know you're the primary vocalist. So actually, before I wouldn't really pay attention to the vocals. But I love the vocals, especially in the second half of the song with the...
When she was like going like high like that?
Yeah, when she was going high in the background singers. I love background. See, that's another thing I got from Korn, was Got the Life was the song that converted me to being a metalhead. But in the chorus, you know, Head does the ha, whatever, which I still to this day don't know what that technique is when people are just saying it's not scat, you know, like scat is just like you're making shit up, but like ha, or when they go whoa, like I don't know what that technique is called. But anyway, I love the background singing in the second half of the song. It was gangster shit. I loved it, and I also love the name of the genre, possibly.
Yeah.
Southern Gothic.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. Because it did feel like, I think Middle Earth said it too, it did feel spiritual. It felt like, you won't understand this, when I was in Houston, like some of the Bayou people from like Louisiana, you know, like that deep southern Louisiana spiritual dark voodoo stuff. Like, you ever met any of those people from? Yeah, I met. I was on. I was moving this person down in Houston for a year. I was moving this person from A to B or whatever, and
It took a year to move them?
no. When I was in Houston for a year
Oh.
on assignment in Houston, I had to move this person from Louisiana or whatever, and like. The VCA we were at the time, it was like you're basically on benches, so you had to face each other.
Like on Handmaid's Tale?
And I've looked at some pretty bad people, like, that if I said blah, 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 people say, yeah, it's a bad person. Mm-hmm. And they always do the staring thing with you. Like, there's always, like, some staring contest. So you know me. I love that shit. I love the game. I love the psychological thing. So I'll just sit there the entire time, and people are like, "Do you know what I've done?" and blah blah blah. I'm like, "Yeah, I know what you've done." Anyway, but this person, when I was moving them, like as soon as they stepped in, the entire energy in it was just,
my gosh.
It was just like, and like she was sitting down. And she did this like sideways sit thing, crossed her legs, and looked like right at me. And I was like, nope. I got up and I went to the opposite fucking corner. No.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Why? Well, you've been around people
She
with
just
that
brought. I've never seen anything like that before. Like that kind of energy.
It was worse than the other one?
Yeah, because the other one was just, I'm flirting around with shit I shouldn't flirt around. Where this one, it was like,
I fully embrace
like
this.
I'm here with like 58 other people type of feeling. You know what I'm saying? And I wasn't like prepared for it because I was in a certain kind of mindset. And then she showed up, and I was like, holy. So it was like that kind of feeling, like that kind of spooky Louisiana.
What'd
type
she do when you moved?
I don't know. I look at her the entire trip.
How long was the trip?
Like my part, about 5 hours. My part of the situation was over. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
did anybody else say, "Yo, that woman was"?
Oh yeah, we all. Well, it was one of those things where we all kind of looked at each other and whatever, and we were just wanted to get out of the situation. I could just tell, like I know them, they know me. Like we just wanted to be out of the situation. You know what I'm saying? Because this was not like a psychological game she was playing. Like this shit was, she was different. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Like the other guys, it's all like, smoke and mirrors, and they want you to be impressed with shit. But little do they know that, you're 10 times worse than them on that issue. You know what I'm saying?
I see.
But like that woman, whoo. Southern Gothic is a perfect example, and I'll tell you what, I will take a New York goth, I'll take a New York Satanist, I'll take a whatever. I mean, even now, like my hand's kind of like shaky. I'll take a whatever to that. Like that's how real it was. That shit was crazy. So it had that kind of feeling, and I don't know why like the song appealed to me so much because it immediately made me think of this person. So you know what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
And it's very, I feel very uncomfortable.
Wow.
Yeah. Like it was that bad. It was really, really bad.
I've never seen you like this the entire time I've known you.
Yeah. It was a bad situation. That lady was she was crazy. Yes. Okay, so that's where the song brought me. Like that's the headspace the song brought me. And I didn't even really get a chance to see a lot of the lyrics.
So it's crazy because
because I was so freaked out by that.
The first listen through, I thought it was like so there's this country song, like I think it's called Goodbye Earl, and basically the guy's abusive, so two girls get together, they feed him poisonous beans and
poisonous beans, really?
Yeah, black-eyed peas, which are actually like a bean. Every time I buy the black-eyed peas, honest to goodness, honestly, every time I buy them to put in your taco bean soup, I always think of that song, and I'm like, yo, this is weird. Because obviously I'm not trying
to poison your boy.
No, I just think it's just
boy.
weird because I never would have thought that I would have ever had a reason to use black-eyed peas for anything, and then it goes in the taco bean soup. So it's just weird, like to feed your husband black-eyed peas when that had such a long-standing history with me and my best friend at the time. Anyway, so I thought it was like kind of one of those situations because when you hear like the roughing at the beginning, and obviously the girl sounds like she's not doing well, but the chains was a little bit weird to me, and I was like, yo, I bet you they're gonna drown him. Which they've chained him up. They're gonna throw him in the river. They're gonna drown him.
The other thing that's crazy is I was almost certain that all the vocalists were black women.
Well, yeah.
That's another thing.
I was very surprised.
Like a compliment or what?
I was very surprised too that it was that little black, very small white girl with blonde hair. That was very shocking to me. And then it wasn't like synced very well. So then I was like, well, maybe this is just like, because not every time there's a music video, it's like the artist, but she stayed the singer the entire time. So I'm like, it's got to be her.
Yeah.
So yes, the first time that's what I thought it was.
Crazier and crazier as the thing went on. Like,
yeah, at the end, everybody was down.
Like, did you see her eyes though as the video proceeded? Like, she got crazier and crazier.
So that's what I thought was going on, and then Because it says, drive your son like a railroad spike into the water, let it pull him under. Let it pull him under. The wolves will chase you by the pale moon.
That would be the boy, right? Her son.
What son? I mean, obviously when you see the music video, it looks like this is the Salem witch trials. She's a witch.
She said the Lord's going to come for your firstborn son. His hair is on fire and his heart is burning.
Oh, so she cursed their firstborn, the ones that were trying to take her away?
Go to the river where the water runs. Wash him deep where the tides are turning. And if you fall, hold my hand. So, isn't her son type kind of... They're talking about her son, right? You didn't get that?
No.
So who do you think it's talking about when it says, wash him deep where the tides are turning?
I don't know. Like I said, I thought that was the woman's husband, and she was gonna get him killed.
Oh, you're still...
No, I don't think that's what that was.
You're still on the killing husband thing.
No, I'm saying that's what I thought that it was.
Probably the last
and
episode,
then,
guys.
Stop it. That's what I thought it was, and then I saw the music video, and I'm like, this is a Salem witch trial. So I haven't like worked out the lyrics after the change of the change of pace there. I don't know. Because I don't know if that's them talking to her.
Or her talking
to them.
You're going to kill me, but then the Lord's
God's
going to
come for your firstborn.
Your son's going to drown or whatever.
Yeah. And like, so go to the river where the water runs, wash him deep where the tides are turning. Like that whole, like, it kind of sounds like they're about to baptize the person.
Yeah. Well, it says, oh, baby, it's a long way down, a long way down. The wolves will chase you by the pale moonlight, drunk and driven by a devil's hunger.
Yeah.
Drive your son like a railroad spike into the water, let him pull him under. Don't you lift him, let him drown alive. Let that fever make the water rise.
But
I'm not
then,
sure.
no,
I'm not
but,
sure if this is not a metaphor for something else. Go ahead. What were you saying?
Yeah, because you got to keep reading. It says, let that fever make the water rise and let the river run dry. And I said, hold my hand, oh baby, it's a long way down to the bottom of the river. Hold my hand. Maybe so it does kind of sound like he's getting drowned with her.
Yeah, like her fate is inextricably tied. Their fate is inextricably tied. It could be her kid, and they're showing up to kill her. And then she's gonna use her witchy powers to flood the river and kill everybody. So, see, it says, let that fever make the water rise, and then let the river run dry, which I'm assuming creates a flood, right? Oh, baby, it's a long way down to the bottom of the river. Maybe it's like supposed to just create a flood and kill them all, kill everybody.
Well, I mean, at the end of the video, everybody was dead.
Yeah, everybody dies, although she doesn't die.
I was going to say, except for her.
She seems to be in control of everything in the video. But, you know, I think about this a lot, you know, and I think about, people talk about the good old days, and I always joke and I always say, it wasn't good old days for me, because it wasn't, you know what I'm saying? But then I think to myself, I don't think you would have had a lot of fun back then either.
I was thinking of that when this was playing.
They would have
and I thought about your situation too, and I was
set you on
like,
fire immediately, bro. Unless you married some rich person. Or
when I saw that other lady dragging her out, I'm like, yep, that's about the size of it.
Yeah,
You got Aunt Lydia dragging out this blonde girl.
Yeah.
With her red lips.
To myself, like, well, it wasn't really a good time for women either. You know what I'm saying? Like, pretty crazy, especially beautiful women, and like there were hints of assault here a little bit in my mind when they were talking about the wolves in the moonlight, because the wolves were drunk, so it's like that seems to be a personification. It's a long way down. The wolves will chase you by the pale moonlight, drunk and driven by a devil's hunger, which my theory about a lot of the Salem witch stuff was men's ultimate projection of their inability to manage their sexuality in the context of religion, where you have a lot of rules and a lot of laws, but you don't have a lot of understanding of how grace works. You know, that's why, you know, I don't spend a lot of time talking about the rules with the kids, especially when it comes to theology. Most of the time, I'm probably too much on this side. Most of the time I talk about God's graciousness and trusting in God's graciousness to change you into a better person instead of really talking about the rules to change you into a better person. Because religion becomes extremely toxic when it's rule oriented because nobody can keep them perfectly. So if you have, and you know, the witch trials came out of a puritanical seats in Laban. So the Puritans were even more hyper focused than normal on the rules. And they would do this thing where at the end of every day you were encouraged to take an inventory of yourself and how good you did that day and how closely you could follow the rules.
Did they have slaves?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, see, that's the thing that I feel about rules. I mean, I've lived the majority of my life guided and dictated by rules.
Yeah.
And what happens is it ends up leaving these massive blind spots that you don't see because you follow the other rules so well that you believe yourself to be a certain type of person, or that you've, you know, I guess attained a certain level of perfection, while there's like these obvious and horribly gaping, where if you focus on like the song before where he talked about love, you know, if you focus on love, then that changes things, because if the rule is love, then you don't have to have all the mini rules to tell you how to act or to be or to treat people. If you can just ask yourself, well, was that loving? No, it wasn't. You know what I'm saying? Like, it kind of simplifies things. But if you have a list of rules, you can follow those rules. You can be like the Puritans and check yourself every night, but have slaves in the back room, you know?
Well, what it does is it creates a sort of pathology, particularly with sexuality with those people. Because if you are doing this daily inventory every day as to where you measure up, and Jesus says, don't look at a woman with lust, and there's a particular woman whose power over you cannot break.
Yeah.
Because you don't combine your rule keeping with grace, now somebody has to go. You have to go, or she has to go.
Well, the Bible says you should pluck your own eyes out.
Well, of course, but he ain't gonna do that.
Right.
So he's gonna project all of his sexual faults or whatever onto her. That's my theory about what happened with the witch trials. You project all that, and that's why women participated, because it was generally the very, very beautiful woman, very jealous, and it's not because you are not attractive to your husband. It's not because that woman looks better in the cloak than you. No, it's because she's got some supernatural pull over him, so she's going to participate in that too. And so that's why when I heard, you know, when they were talking about the wolves at night with a devilish hunger and that they were drunk, I'm like, So, you know, it's a pretty crazy thing. It's a little bit complex and a little bit Freudian, but I think that there's a lot of that going on. This song is a 9.8 for me.
9.6 for me.
Minimum a 9.8 if it ends up on my playlist. But this is a playlist song. Holy shizzle whizzle. I really like this song. I hope this band gets more requests. Because that's the other thing. It's like when I listen to a song like that hits a playlist, I'm like, damn, I hope other people like it.
Well, what year do you think this came out?
Probably recent. 5 years. 5 years ago.
2012.
That wasn't 5 years ago. That was about 10 years,
10 years
off,
ago.
probably.
That's 10 years ago.
All right. There you are, dear listener. We still have more. We still have more. It's on the way soon. Vin out.
Sori out.
Gone. Riv, what's the name of that documentary on the Puritans? I want to watch it. Commercial break, bitches. We shall return. I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option. As Sori says, $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. $125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at itsori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is a community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
They do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed. A child shall lead them.
To buy our merch.
Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener.
Okay, up next on our Metlcat stream.
Our Metlcat non-metal extravaganza, dear listener.
Is Live. The name of the song is I Alone. It's a very strange album cover.
We should name the group It's the Bear. It's a very strange album cover. I Alone. I'm pretty sure there was a band called Live back in the day.
Okay, well, maybe that's them. This is from 1994.
Metlcat says, sorry that the video quality, this one looks like it was filmed on a potato, but it's a good performance and the only upload of it. Grunge, all right, well, we'll be the judge of that. Thanks very much, Riv. We will be the judge of that. All right, here we go. Live, I Alone.
Thanks,
at
Applejack.
So, at the potato. You potato. Live. Get it? The band's name
Davey
is
J,
Live.
hey, what's up?
The band's name is Live, and we're doing it live.
But are we? Maybe this was pre-recorded.
Yeah. Maybe it's pre-recorded.
To eat on with you, all alone in the church by and by. I read to you here, say you're right. You're gonna need them, your bodies will see. Your ankle is up, you've been swept away, and the greatest of teachers won't hesitate. Not to be great and measure these things by your eyes. We long to be here by his resolve, all alone in the church by and by, to cradle this baby in space, leave us here by ourselves, chained to space. So, about 6 years ago, I became a daddy. For the first time. And, you know, it's a trippy thing. I'm so blessed. Been so blessed by you guys for so long. So blessed by being in this beautiful band for so many years. And then along comes that, a baby, 2 babies. And it just keeps on getting better, man. And I just want to, you know, use this next song. This next song is about that. It's a prayer for, I don't know, just everything. Everything.
Apparently we've reviewed a song by this band before. I don't know, Metlcat, I disagree with you. I like the quality of the video. It seemed very 90s to me. It was like very 90s type, MTV type shit. I'm amazed at how hyped that crowd was, because they're not a heavy band to me. Like, that wasn't heavy to me, but you could tell the audience was really moved by the lyrics, and they knew every single freaking word. Like, holy shit. That must be, like, I was watching that Woodstock shit, and I'm like, son of a bitch.
You wish you would have been in the crowd getting your arms broke?
No. I just wish that I would have, when I first got my guitar, that I wish I would have, like, not been so distracted by all the dumb hood shit that was going around.
Oh.
I wish I would have really, like...
Zoned in and,
like, focused. Especially, like, if some weird parallel universe I'd have met you early, it'd have been a wrap.
Yeah.
It would have been a wrap if I'd have met you earlier. Okay. So, everybody knows what I'm about to say about this song relationship-wise. The big homie, took it out of... Whoa, holy shit, they filmed that in 2010s? So when did this band... Go to Genius. When did this band... 1994. They were playing that song 15 years later? 2010. It's almost 15 years. 16 years, right? 1994, 2010? Holy shit.
It sounded like a kind of youth group sort of sound. Or church camp.
Well, again, your youth group would have been copying music from 10 years prior, so that would make sense. This band still plays. What was the name of the other song that we did with them?
I don't know. I'll look.
It's easier not to be wise and measure these things by your brains. I sank into Eden with you alone in the church.
Operation Spirit?
Operation Spirit, okay. Well, there you go. It's easier not to be wise and measure these things by your brains.
Okay. Yeah.
I sank into Eden with you alone in the church by and by. I'll read you here, save your eyes. I'll read to you here, save your eyes. You'll need them. Your boat is at sea and your anchor is up. You've been swept away, and the greatest of teachers won't hesitate to leave you there by yourself, chained to fate. Didn't you guys do lightning crashes?
You know what? We might have, and it might not. Like, I'm looking on our channel, so that doesn't have all the songs that we've done because we still have, like, I don't know, friggin' 30 streams to break up. So it might be in one of the streams that's going to be coming out. I can check Trello real quick, see if it's there.
So this is what do you, I think he's talking about the greatest teachers. The greatest of teachers won't hesitate. I don't know if that is pain or love.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I kept changing my mind about what I thought the song was about.
Later, Davey.
When he says it's easier not to be wise and measure things by your brains. Then he says, I sank into Eden with you, alone in the church by and by. I'll read to you here, save your eyes. I thought that was like a relationship thing, but it was very poetic. I sank into Eden with you.
Yeah, it looks like he's saying, don't try to think about it too much. Just go with it. It's easier not to be wise and measure these things by our brains. What things? I think people think that, you know, love, relationships, that it's 1,000%, 100% purely mysterious and there's no rhyme or reason or logic behind it. So this is presenting a very romantic understanding of how relationships are supposed to work. Don't really use your mind. Don't use your logic. Let's just fall into paradise together. We're giving each other good feelings. Let's just stay with that. I'll read to you here. Save your eyes, though, because you'll need them. Your boat is at sea. Your anchor's up, and you've been swept away. I'm assuming swept away by emotion. And the greatest of teachers won't hesitate to leave you there by yourself, chained to fate. Now, the greatest of teachers could be love, or it could be pain, depending on the context of the song. Then he goes into the I alone love you, I alone tempt you, I alone love you, fear is not the end of this. Which fear is contrasted with love in 1 John, and this guy, they're from Georgia, and apparently he's a little bit religious, so who knows?
Yeah, it's...
So here's what the guy is saying. He's saying, Ed Kowalczyk said of the song, people think I Alone is a love song, but it really isn't. The lyrics were more abstract, encompassing a much larger message. So...
Wait, people think it's what? It's a relationship song?
People think I Alone is a love song, but it really wasn't. The lyrics are more abstract, encompassing a much larger message. Which, that doesn't preclude love being the subject. Mm-hmm. It just means it's not a love relationship song, but I still, obviously love is still the subject. It's just who's doing the loving and what kind of love are we actually talking about here? I think
these lyrics are very confusing to me.
Huh?
These lyrics are very confusing to me.
It's easier not to be great and measure these things by your eyes. We long to be here by his resolve.
Who's his?
Alone in the church by and by. Again, I think it's talking about a deeper kind of love than just relational love. I think he's talking about God. I think this guy is very religious, probably. I mean, they're from Georgia. He said the next song after this was going to be a prayer. So I think
said blessing about his kids.
So I think this guy is a very religious dude, and I think it's a way. But I think he didn't want it to be too preachy, so he kind of subliminally put it in there. But I think it's talking about some sort of spiritual type of love type of thing.
The bridge says, "Oh, now we took it back too far. Only love can save us now."
Yeah, it says, "Who's his God?" Live was known as a Christian influence band back in the day. Right, so that would make sense for the Eden reference as well.
All these riddles that you burn, all coming running back to you. All these rhythms that you hide, only love can save us now.
All these riddles that you burn, which is kind of meta because the song itself is a riddle.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They are very religious. Their music always showed that side of them. Yeah. So, which is interesting because if you go with the Adam and Eve and Eden situation, think about it. It's easier not to be wise. What was the point of eating the forbidden fruit?
To be wise.
Yeah,
they want to be
when
wise.
She
as
saw
God.
that the tree was good and that fruit was good to make one wise.
Mm-hmm.
So, in the story, humanity falls because of our obsession with getting unauthorized knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't say that Adam and Eve had no knowledge whatsoever, because they had knowledge enough to interface with God and each other and presumably whoever was talking to them.
Yeah, by that point, Adam had already named all the animals.
You can't say that they had no cognitive ability, and all the ability they would have come from God. But the issue is the means by which you acquire that knowledge, which is one of the reasons why the question of DMT and all these things are very fascinating. It's like, I am not certain that what people are seeing in DMT isn't spiritually true, but is that means of attaining that truth and ordained, you know what I'm saying? So that becomes the question, and then that opens up a whole different ball of wax. But here, it would have been easier not to be wise and measure these things by your brains, because that's what got us in trouble initially. Mm-hmm. So maybe it's more of like we should feel, we should operate based on our internal intuition of love and emotions versus the attempt to try to get everything to fit into your brain or your mind, which obviously now, not to be a broken record, but I am not certain about the dichotomy between mind and heart. I'm not certain that is describing separate mechanisms of interfacing with reality. Some, when people say go with your heart, stop thinking so much about it, I'm now extremely skeptical. Like, why do you want me to turn off my mind? Like, what are you trying to accomplish? So that's a Fred the local villager. Long time no see. I alone tempt you. I alone love you. Fear is not the end of this. It's easier not to be great. We long to be here by his resolve, alone in the church by and by, to cradle the baby in space and leave you there by yourself, chained to fate. So yeah, I think this is like a collective consciousness type of... no, Bad Religion has not already happened, JL. Yeah, I think it's a stripping away of everything and saying all you have left is love, which obviously would be God's love, because it says at the end, only love can save us now. So I think that's where I'm at with it. But I was just very, very surprised that the crowd was that into it, because the song wasn't that heavy.
Oh, yeah.
But people were very, very attached to the lyrics, it looks like. 9.2 for me. Rip the
9
God
even.
in the house.
9
Rip
even.
the God in the house. Gang. What's up, Rip? All right, guys.
Even.
We got one
Bad
more song.
Religion is up
Bad
next.
Religion is the name of the band. Metlcat is the name of the man. We shall return, dear listener. Then out.
Sori out.
Gone. Commercial break. We shall return. I'm Vin.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option. As Sori says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at itsori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village. Facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy merch indeed, a child shall lead them.
To buy our merch.
Okay, so I don't think I ever do this, but I was really curious as to what the guy meant in the song, and I will say that I feel like I came pretty close. We're talking about that live song that we just did. Singer Ed Kozlowski said of the song's lyrics, people think I Alone is a love song, but it really wasn't. The lyrics are more abstract, encompassing a much larger message. He explained the line, the greatest of teachers won't hesitate to leave you there by yourself, chained to fate, by saying that a profound lesson he derived from studying spiritual teachings was that religion and truth must be found for oneself in practice, rather than just accepting the word of others.
Yeah.
So to go with your internal intuition, which is pretty close. Okay.
All right. Bad Religion, Don't Prey on Me is what we have next on our stream.
Don't Prey on Me by Bad Religion.
Yep.
You know, Korn has a song called Pray For Me, which is one of my favorite songs.
Yeah.
And it was because Jonathan met some of Head's Christian friends, and they're like, "Oh, we're praying for you," and so pray.
Oh, I see.
So all right, here we go. Don't pray on me, Bad Religion. This is the big homie DJ Metlcat, as you can see right there. Oh, and we were also missing the Metlcat. There's the Metlcat from Metlcat. What does the Metlcat have a name, or is it just Metlcat?
It's Leela.
Leela. Okay. Leela, then Sori, Metlcat, Bad Religion. Let's do this shit. Actually, let's not. Let's do this shit. I found it.
A grizzly scene on my electron beam told a story about human rights. So all the king's horses and all the king's men had a riot for 2 days and nights. Well, the city exploded, but the gates wouldn't open, so the company asked him to quit. Now everybody's equal, just don't measure it. Well, Hanson did it to Hester, and Mark David did it to John, and maybe Jack did it to Marilyn, but he did it to South Vietnam. For beauty and glory, for money, love, and country. Now everybody's doing it, don't do that to me. A bitter debate and a feminine fate lie in tandem like two precious babes. Well, warmer gets warmer, it's the latter that matters, except on the nation's airways. And custodians of public opinion state that captivatingly discussing her rights. Lay hands off her body, it's not your fucking life.
I agree.
Now I don't know what stopped Jesus Christ from turning every hungry soul into bread. And I don't remember hearing how Moses reacted when the innocent firstborn sons lay dead. Well, I guess God was a lot more demonstrative back when he fed boy and he parted the sea. Now everybody's praying, don't pray on me. Said everybody's praying, don't pray on me.
Distortions.
I didn't like that ending there.
Viva Puerto Rico!
Okay,
Puerto Rico! Oh!
Um,
Only a true New York head will know what I just did there. Puerto Rico! Okay, Bad Brains, go.
Okay, so obviously I understood verse 3. Verse 1, I don't know what he's talking about. A grizzly scene on my electron beam. I don't know what electron beam
That's a TV.
is. Oh, I was wondering if that's what it was. Told a story about human rights. So all the king's horses and all the king's men had a riot for 2 days and nights. Well, the city exploded, but the gates wouldn't open, so the company asked him to quit. Now everybody's equal. Just don't measure it. I was like, okay.
So everybody's equal now because nobody has a job, I guess? Hanson did it to Hester. Mark David did it to John. Okay, so that's assassination because Mark David assassinated the big homie John Lennon. Ha! You guys didn't think I knew about that, eh? I did know about it. Shout out to the big homie for educating me on that. Okay. And maybe Jack did it to Maryland, but he did it to South Vietnam.
For beauty and glory, money and love and country. Now everyone's doing it. Don't do that to me.
Verse 1 is about Rodney King. See what I'm saying? He had the LA riots.
Oh. Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The company asked him to quit. Everybody's equal, just don't measure it. That's when he did the can't we all just get along? So like we're all equal now. Cause all you have to do is say that you're equal.
Yeah.
And now we're all equal.
Yeah.
I was looking at the reaction on the right relative to the FBI situation with Trump.
Yeah.
How he raided the Mar-a-Lago. They raided his Mar-a-Lago house. He wasn't there. And all these Republicans are, oh my God, this is terrible, blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, Breonna Taylor, they ran up in this short... Actually, no, they didn't run up in her house. They shot her from outside the window. And they didn't care about that at all. Mm-hmm. Not even a little bit. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, we're equal. There's no racism in that. It's all good. It's all good. As a matter of fact, somebody attacked the FBI building today.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, in Ohio.
I'm not surprised.
I told you.
I'm surprised there wasn't more than just one person, to be honest.
Oh shit, the guy, they killed that dude. I gotta do a Middle America on that guy. They killed him. He breached the building, identified as Ricky Schiffer, 42, who had extreme right-wing views. So he initially went in there and was going after them. He shot a nail gun at them and all that shit. And then
a nail gun?
Yeah. And then he escaped. There you go, right there. I knew he was white because he survived that first interaction with the cops. He went into the FBI building, breached the building, shot it. He had a supposedly an AR-15. Anytime these people see a rifle, they call it an AR-15. So you don't know. But he went in there, shot his nail gun at them, had the AR, and made it out of that situation alive. It was only after a standoff that he ended up dying. I knew he was white. I was like, "There's no way. If that was a brother, you'd have been at the funeral already."
So confused about the nail gun.
Shout out to the homie, because I think he meant it as a. He thought the nail gun would be a better stealth weapon. So
his words. I don't even understand. A nail gun, don't you need a compressor for that?
I mean, I don't know. A lot of these guys think that they're tactical. They think that they're, you know what I'm saying? They think that they're operators or whatever. You know what I mean? They watch too much, DIY anyway. But I mean, it's not the point.
Come on, you're not going to kill somebody with a nail gun.
Obviously, we're in a situation where, so that's going on in the country, and then we've got crazy people with gun violence. It looks to me like, it's gun violence over there. And there's this conspiracy theory that that Jack Kennedy killed Marilyn. The Kennedys had Marilyn Manson. Marilyn Monroe killed because she knew too many secrets or whatever. So that's why he said,
really, Matthew?
Maybe Jack did it to Marilyn, but he did it to South Vietnam. He's not wrong. A nail gun could easily maim. Oh, absolutely, a nail gun could easily maim and kill a person. Absolutely. But he made it out of that altercation alive. It was only 2 hours ago he died in a standoff.
And they have those without a compressor?
So do what you will with that. Okay. Yeah. So this is real punk because they're dealing with a political issue, right? I don't know who stopped Jesus Christ from turning every hungry stone into bread. And I don't remember hearing how Moses reacted when the innocent firstborns lay dead. Well, I guess God's a lot more distraught than big when he parted the sea. So the third verse is him having obvious problems. For example, if you could turn, that's the temptation of Christ.
Yeah,
if you could turn stones into bread, why wouldn't you do it and just feed all the hungry people in the world, right? And then God is mean because he killed those innocent firstborn kids in Egypt.
Yeah.
Right? Which this is one of the things that gets me when people criticize religion. It's like, okay, you're taking the fact in the story as true that God killed these kids, but you're not taking into account what that same theology says happened to the souls of those children when God took them, because the children belong to the Lord, as the scripture says, and the kingdom belongs to little children. So it definitely harmed the parents. But especially in that way, it basically says that a spirit came and collected their souls. So on what basis is God duty bound to continue to give these people the gift of children, especially when those children belong to Him? How would it be?
Right.
How would it be unjust for God to take back something that He gave to you on loan? This is one of the things I never understood. Like, I always think to myself, if I was an atheist, or even not even an atheist, just a person who didn't believe in Christian theology or biblical theology, there are so many arguments I wouldn't make that I hear people make, and this would be one of them. Because if the biblical presupposition is that life is on loan to you by God, then on what basis can we demand that from Him as if He owes us that? And I'm not even talking about like your parents, because from a biblical standpoint, your parents don't give you life. Your parents are what God uses to bring you into the world, but your parents aren't the ones that gave you life. So God is the one that authors and sustains your life. On what basis is God duty bound? How can we morally force Him to continue to give us that loan? That makes no sense to me.
Well, I think that, just in a practical sense, like, you know, like when you're driving and you're about to take a parking spot and then somebody like cuts you off, like you were there seconds before them, so it's yours. And then you feel that some injustice has been done to you because somebody took your parking spot. And people will get all extra, fights, crash cars, do all kinds of stuff because that level of frustration because they felt like something that was theirs was taken from them. And that's just a parking spot. You only got that because you got there 3 seconds faster. You know what I mean? So when you have a child and you carry that child in your womb and you raise that child and, you know, like then, I think it's just human nature that you would say, well, this is mine, even though the child does belong to God. Like, I think that you have to consciously remind yourself that these children belong to God. Otherwise, they're yours.
Perhaps they see the idea of life being on loan from God as a weird thing they don't see the logic of. Okay, that's fine, but then on what basis are they saying that God killed people in Egypt? Where are you getting that from? Well, you got it from the Bible. Okay, so you take what God says there, but then we're supposed to delete the other side of that, which is that your life is on loan to you from God. I just wouldn't use that as an argument. I'm not saying that they're, you know what I'm saying? I don't see how that's a very compelling argument. And of course, he's talking about the whole pro-life, pro-choice thing.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to really deal with that because everybody knows the answer to that question. But what's really fascinating to me about this discussion, though, he says, after vainly discussing her rights, and this is one of those things where I don't know how to say this. I just don't think people think through the ramifications of what they're saying. The founding fathers did not root rights in secular humanism. And the reason for that is because it is impossible from a secular perspective to say that rights are axiomatic or self-evident. That's impossible. So when you have the preamble to the Declaration of Independence, we hold these truths to be self-evident. What is the self-evident truth? All men are created equal and endowed with unalienable rights given to them by their Creator. Okay, so from their perspective, rights originated from God, and the logic is obvious. If God is the one that gives you the rights, then human beings cannot take them away. So this idea that all of us are equal and that everybody should be treated equally is not axiomatic or native to human history. It's not. As a matter of fact, an argument can be made, there is yet to be a society that holds the idea consistently that everybody is equal. I've had countless conversations with people that say, yes, the being in the womb is a human being. Yes, the being in the womb is a baby. Yes, it's a human being. But it does not have the right to live on virtue of only being a human being. Because it's usually some sort of ableist argument because it can't take care of itself, which makes no sense. The inability to care for oneself increases society's obligation to care for you. It does not increase their chances of being executed. That's why we have handicapped parking spaces in Walmart. Because what we're saying as a society collectively is that if you are disabled in some way, or if you are dependent or not completely an independent unit, there's something about you that's worth more than simply what you can contribute. That's a powerful idea. That there's something about that disabled person that society benefits from that is not their contribution of resources to the collective. And you cannot get there from a purely secular humanist standpoint. That's why when secular humanists have the helm, you eliminate Down syndrome in Greenland and other countries. When those people get control of the government, innocent people get killed in bunches.
Yep.
Why? Because it is impossible to root this idea that all of us are equal from a secular perspective. It's literally impossible. You are a cosmic accident. You're space dust. You were nothing before you came here, and you'll go into the infinite black after that. And so we're going to make decisions that benefit the most of us, people like me, possible, to the expense and detriment of other people. So that's been the story of human history. So when a secularist talks about rights, I had a conversation with a guy one time. He was a black dude, and he didn't see the irony. He said, I said, so are we killing babies? Yes, we're killing human babies. He said, but we haven't granted them rights. And I said, like 40 years ago, where a certain group of people didn't grant us rights.
What'd he say?
What the fuck oh, that's different. We're actually here. That's what he said to me. He's like, we're actually here. I said, where do you think the babies are when they're gestating? You think they're in Mars or Jupiter? You know, and then he said I was being dishonest, and then he quickly bailed from the conversation. So, like, it's not even an argument about abortion. Ultimately, it's an argument about where did you get this idea that all of us are equal? Where did that come from? You're space dust that somehow booted up consciousness and self-awareness out of the ether. Okay. That's all we are is matter. So how can you say that this collection of matter has certain rights and privileges that other collections of matter should not transgress? It's just That's what I'm saying. It's not even about the abortion question. It's just rights in general. How can you take that template and argue against slavery or forced euthanasia or abortion or Gilead, The Handmaid's Tale? Because the argument in Handmaid's Tale was one of utility.
Yep.
They weren't arguing for the moral rightness of what they were doing. They were saying it works. You guys, your birth, and he was right. So if it's just about utility, replicating genes, then you cannot argue against a slave colony of the best genetically modified. You can't argue against that. I mean, there's a lot of problems.
Yeah.
There's a lot of problems. People try to root value in consciousness. It's like, you know, we're watching this Sandman show, and this woman was in a coma for over a decade, and she was sexually assaulted while she was in the coma. Is that okay? She's not conscious, and we don't know if she'll ever regain consciousness. So is it okay? You got one being that you can like disassemble and poison to death, even though we know that it's going to be conscious in about 2 months. But then you have this other being that's been unconscious for 10 years, but that being has rights and shouldn't be violated. Like none of these things make sense. So like, I understand the argument in the song relative to like, you know, the second verse that I skipped over. It was about abortion and you know, I think I've demonstrated pretty clearly that this is an obvious human rights issue that we have that we need to repent for, and it's impossible to defend. And I'm not talking about ectopic pregnancies and things like that Planned Parenthood knows are not abortions. I'm talking about the main reason why. But again, it's not just about abortion. It's about things like racism. Why is it that because I have a certain compound called
Can you
melanin.
address that one after? Because I don't know what he's saying.
Why is it that just because I have a certain compound called melanin and you have less melanin, why should I treat you as equal to me? On what basis? You know, all of these are unanswerable questions from a secular worldview. It just doesn't make sense to me. Would not God know which kids would be aborted? Seems like a bad poker hand. I don't understand that question.
I didn't either. I thought maybe you would.
Why do you need to protect unborn children then? Can't God protect them? Isn't it on the mother to use her free will, I guess, and decide if she'll sin or not, just like with every sin? Well, sure, Amy, I guess we could carry that also. Well, why stop at birth? Can't she use her free will to strangle her child to death if the child comes out looking in a way she doesn't like it? I mean, I knew this part. This is a true story. God strike me if I'm lying. When we were at the abused women's shelter, there was this lady upstairs that had 2 kids, and one of them she was absolutely horrible to. And you know, my mom, even though she was in a bad situation herself, she was always ended up being the caretaker. So she started talking to this woman. Well, long story short, her first kid was with her first, you know, serious boyfriend. They broke up or whatever. Her second kid was a product of a sexual assault. And when the kid was born, he looked exactly like the dude that assaulted her. So she always treated that second one worse than the first one. So why don't we just let her, you know, hey, the baby's born. It looks exactly like the bad guy. Let me strangle it to death. That's her free will. Why should we intervene? I want to have a worldview that is consistent all across the board. Like, I want a worldview that...
Oh, that's so sad.
That if you put me in a time machine and sent me to the 1840s in antebellum South, or if you put me in a time machine and made me a German person in the 30s and 40s, I want a worldview that's going to make it impossible for me to go along with Nazis and slave traders.
Mm-hmm.
And if I ever hear myself arguing like a Nazi and a slave trader, I want to really sit and look in the mirror and say, what the fuck am I saying?
Yeah.
That's very important to me. I want something that I can apply consistently across the board in every scenario relative to human rights especially. And I would commend that to everybody. If you have a worldview that you can't protect yourself from being a Nazi or being a slave trader, then you should probably rethink it. If you have a worldview that goes right in step with people that have eliminated Down syndrome from their country, if you have a worldview that certain organizations, the progenitor of those organizations was an avowed eugenist who talked about racial stratification and human weeds, and the fact that the disabled are morbidly fecund, they're morbidly fecund, meaning that they reproduce too much, and that immigrants are reproducing too much. If you're in step with all of those people, rhetorically speaking, you should probably rethink your position.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think. I think people should rethink their positions if that's the case. But I understand where these guys are coming from. Like, these are, in my opinion, valid issues for a person in the current Western world currently constructed. Because I think a lot of people don't realize that the moral sort of assumptions that they have came from a distinctly Judeo-Christian worldview, but that they are also are taught a secular humanist mindset, and so they can't tear themselves from those assumptions, and they don't realize that they're contradictory, and that's why when you try to apply it in the real world, it won't work across the board. It's because you're living in two worlds. But I enjoyed the song in the sense that it's challenging. It's a challenging song, and it makes you think. I mean, we just had a pretty deep discussion. Put me in a time machine, send me back to 1492, so I'll be posted up waiting for Columbus's lost ass and send him on his way to Antarctica instead. True, but at the same time, we probably wouldn't all have met each other, so there's that. Bottom line, it has nothing to do with science but religion. No, the bottom line, and you didn't answer my question, Amy, what protects, if I'm using the logic that you were using, why don't we just strangle the baby after it's born? You never answered that question. Science is important to tell us what category of being that we're dealing with, right? So like a spider's an arachnid, a dog is a canine, and a baby's a homo sapien. So that's where science comes in. Philosophy and religion has to tell you that you should not kill that homo sapien, even if that homo sapien is going to be a drain on your resources, because maybe that homo sapien has other things to contribute to humanity other than just resources. Right?
Yeah.
So if you have a worldview, if you have a scientific worldview that cannot protect children with Down syndrome in Greenland, then I think you should reassess it. That's all I'm saying. Science, religion, and philosophy are different sides of the same pyramid. They all work together, and you cannot have one without the other. The song is a 9.4 for me. I do agree, though, BC. God absolutely stacks the deck. I will not argue with you about that.
8.9.
9.4, I said. Very, very, very good song. Holy smokes.
Interesting. Very interesting.
That third song, though, was the song of the night for me. The one that's on
Alone?
No,
Live?
not I Alone.
No, the
song
Bottom of the
before I
River.
Alone. Bottom of the River from Metlcat.
Delta Ray.
That right there is what I appreciate it. Much love to everybody. If you are politically inclined, I'm about to shoot a Middle America video. We got to update that guy. Rest in peace, by the way. Shout out to Metlcat. At least all 9s across the board from Vin. I was really taken aback by that song. That's the River song. And I'm glad you let us watch it twice.
Yeah.
That was really, really cool. And I'm glad they didn't block us either. So that's going to be good. That's gonna be good.
Don't be too sad that the stream is over. We do have another one tomorrow. DJ Nick is back up tomorrow, so we'll have more good times, probably around 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time ish.
Yes, sirree, Robert. If I don't like how you're raising your kids, can I take them away from you to save them? Well, Amy, I hope you would. I hope if you saw me setting my children on fire ritualistically every night, I set them on fire and then put the fire out so that they could live with third-degree burns for the rest of their life. I hope that you would find some way to stop me from doing that kind of evil to my child. We got a lot of immigrants in this particular area, and some of these people come from places that practice female circumcision. If a dude in the middle of the street decided he was going to circumcise his daughter, I would stop him. There are a bunch of scenarios in which we should stop people from doing things to their children, because their children, Amy, are not their property. Our children are our responsibility. They're not property. We don't get to do with children whatever we want. If there is a guy that decides that he's going to sexually assault his daughter, I'm not going to say, well, that guy's got free will and it's not my business. I'm not going to do that. Like I said, I want a worldview that I can jump into a bunch of time machines with and not be a moral monster. Amy, you know this better than most people. During the times of slavery, you had very nice, well-meaning white people that would say things like, I would never own a slave, but I can't tell another man what to do with his property. And those people really truly believed that they had ingeniously found some moderate middle. Mm-hmm. And they were just as absolutely monstrous and horrific as the plantation owners, because it was that attitude that kept the slave trade thriving. So I don't want an attitude that has already been demonstrated in history to be horrible. No, I'm not the law. I agree with you. But you asked me a question. Amy, if you saw a man about to sexually assault his daughter because that was how he was raised and he thought that that was best for his daughter, are you saying you should sit there and let him do that to his child? Or if you had the means of intervention, would you intervene, or would you let that happen to that child? I don't even think you need to answer that question, because I know the answer to that question. You would absolutely intervene. You're an Edward Snowden supporter. Or actually, you're mad at Edward Snowden for what he did. So please stop with this idea that you just believe in complete freedom for everybody, and you believe in leaving people to their own devices. That doesn't work. It's irrational, and you don't believe that. You haven't been able to internally square that circle within yourself, Amy, and you're taking it out on me. This is nothing to do. This has nothing to do with me. This is about you. It's not about me. There's literally hundreds of things that people could possibly do with their children that none of you would have a problem with me intervening about. As a matter of fact, you would have a problem with me not intervening.
Mm-hmm. Or like what Ian said.
No, we're talking, Amy, but not, what you're saying really doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make sense, what you're saying. You're saying that I should sit back and let people, murder their children because I'm not the law. What I'm saying is, from what I know of you, you wouldn't apply that principle. Because I'm certain that if you saw a parent doing some crazy shit like that to their kid, I'm certain you would intervene, or you would call me and get me to intervene. You wouldn't sit there and say, well, that's their free will. Mm-hmm. I don't know a lot of these people on here, but I do know you. You wouldn't say that. Yes, there's a 911 for that. What if there wasn't a 911 for that, Amy? What if you lived in a society that said it was okay to do that to 6-year-old girls? Would you say, well, that's society, or would you push for legislation to make it illegal to do that to girls? Would you accept that? Amy, what was the 9/11 for slavery prior to the Civil War, Amy? Could you call 9/11 and stop that from happening? That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. What you're saying doesn't make sense. And you know it doesn't make sense. History has demonstrated, especially in the, quote, developed world, that for the last 150 years, we've always had a class of human beings that are not being treated in the same way that other human beings are treated. And history has always told us that it is always the good guys who say we should treat everybody equally. It's always the bad guys that try to find exceptions for why certain human beings shouldn't be treated equally. Show me one scenario in recent memory, Amy, where a group of people said all human beings are not equally valuable, where they turned out ever to be the good guys. One. All I need is one. Because I can name about 10 right now off my head where that turned out horrible. But you provide us, Amy. I will be pro-choice tomorrow. I'll shoot a video. Show me a society where the prevailing zeitgeist said not all human beings are equal. Show me that society that the preceding generation didn't look at as absolute moral monsters. Just one. Just give me one.
What, Amy, when you say this is different, we're talking about abortion and making it unlawful to have the right to decide on something. Not talking ethics or morality, but law. I'm confused at what you mean by that. Are you saying... maybe I'm misunderstanding you. I don't understand people's obsession with law when the laws have been wrong. Like, it's not like laws are flawless and we've never... something's never been legal.
Forced sterilization is still legal in America.
I mean, that's obviously... So the laws don't really mean anything when they allow things that are wrong. Like, that's why there has to be something higher than that.
There's no difference between law and morality, Amy. The only difference between law and morality is a gun. A law is simply morals enforced at gunpoint. That's what a law is. Yes, you are saying that. You are saying that if we get to routinely and systematically abort human babies against their consent, that means they're not as valuable as the person killing them. That by definition is you saying that we're not all equal. You're making an ontological statement.
Yeah, you said I'm talking about your current desire to make abortion illegal.
Abortion is already morally illegal. All I'm trying to do is get our laws to catch up with the moral truth that it's evil, in the same way that abolitionists during slavery were trying to get our laws to catch up with a moral truth that slavery was evil. Mm-hmm. You don't need to say, I think black people are beneath me. The minute you say you can own black people, you're making a statement about their equality or lack thereof, Amy. So the minute that you say you can kill these children without consent, you're making a value statement about their ontology. So you are saying they're not equal to us. And all I'm saying is, show me the state that had that kind of inequality baked into their jurisprudence that we don't look at as absolutely horrifically evil people. Just give me one. All I'm asking you is one historical example. No, you're trying to make this strange dichotomy between law and morality, which makes absolutely no sense. The only difference between what we call law and morals is a gun. A law is simply morals enforced at gunpoint. That's all a law is, Amy. We have speed limits for moral reasons. It's immoral to be reckless and get into a vehicle that can really truly harm somebody and just end their life and be completely reckless. That's why we have laws against drunk driving and all the rest of it. Morality is the foundation of all law. So you're the one that's playing semantics. I'm not. All I asked you, though, was for one example of a society that said that a certain class of human beings were not equal, and get me the name of that society that we don't look upon with absolute horror. All I'm asking for is one. I can give you a bunch. You know, Khmer Rouge, Germany, Bosnia, America. Just give me one. If you can't get me one, then you should probably reassess your position and see what side of history you want to be on. Why do you care so much then to make abortion illegal? You went all the way to the Supreme Court for what reason? To make it legal. Because as the scripture says, Amy, the law is for the lawless. People should, by definition, as a human being, love other human beings as their self. And people should have an instinct to protect those who are dependent on us for their survival. So, because we have suppressed that instinct to love each other, that's why we need laws. So that's why I'm about making it illegal. The same reason that there were a lot of white folks in the South that were obsessed with making slavery illegal in all of its forms. They were obsessed with it. You know, there were actual psychologists that would use that as a diagnosable issue, these people who were obsessed. Black people who were obsessed with freedom and white people who were obsessed with freeing them, they actually had it as a mental disorder. So they were saying the same things. It's literally, you guys are using the exact same language. It's unbelievable to me. But again, you could end the entire Vin is pro-life. All you have to do, Amy, is produce me one society that you look upon as good that had a category of people that they did not treat equally. Just give me one. That's all I asked you for was one. Pro-choice people are equal to Nazis. What do you mean by equal to Nazis? Amy, I've said this a million times. I believe in the doctrine of original sin. You think that I think that there's a difference between my 3-year-old and Hitler? There's no difference between my 3-year-old and Hitler other than grace and opportunity. It looks to me that my 3-year-old has more grace than Hitler had and has less of an opportunity. But don't get it twisted. Nazis are not a special kind of Homo sapien, Amy. Nazis were regular people. And if you went to a person in Germany who just saw their neighbor get carted off to Bergen-Belsen or Auschwitz, and you asked them if they were a good person, they'd tell you, of course I'm a good person. Where do you think Nazis came from? Where do you think the slave owners came from? You think they came from a different planet? Yes. Yes, Amy. Yes, everybody who supports the killing of a certain class of human beings has no ideological difference from that and Nazis. And the same philosophies, I don't know if you understood this, but Nazis came over here to talk in the 20s. They came over here. So the eugenic practice of abortion in certain countries in the Western world where you have eliminated Down syndrome, that is a Nazi practice where you eliminate, how many people, if you showed up in Auschwitz, Amy, and you had Down syndrome, where would they put you? This idea that we're somehow a better version of Homo sapien than those people in Germany is mind-boggling to me. It's mind-boggling to me. Yeah. We're not better than those people. Americans know that we went into Iraq illegally. Americans know we massacred a whole bunch of innocent civilians over there. We know that there's people in sweatshops and shit making our chocolate and all this type of shit, and we go on completely undisturbed. But that God forbid that there's $5 in gas. You think we're better than You think we're better than Nazis? This is madness to me, that people think that Nazis are some different kind of person.
Mm-hmm.
No. No, Amy. All of us are Nazis. You're not getting the point. All of us are Nazis, Amy. Nazis are human beings. That's all they are. And you know that I'm telling you the truth. That's why you won't answer the question. But you won't answer the question, Amy. I asked you a very simple question. I said, get me one society that you look upon as commendable and replicable, that had a class of human beings that they considered less valuable than the dominant society. Give me one, and I'll be pro-choice tomorrow. If you can't give me one, and I've been asking you for 20 minutes, you haven't even attempted to answer. If you can't give me one, all I'm saying is perhaps you should rethink your position. That's all. That's all I'm saying. Of course, I'm not getting the point. I'm a dumb serial baby killer. I never said that you were dumb, and I don't believe that you're a serial baby killer. What I'm asking you to do is challenge your presuppositions and justify your logic. That's what I'm trying to get you to do. You're using all of this, exercise language to escape the point. Exactly. Oh, I can't because I don't believe that society exists. Now who's playing semantical games, Amy? You know what I'm asking you. I'm asking you to name me a group of people who had another group of people that they considered less valuable than them and point to that society as commendable. Or point to that collection of human consciousnesses as commendable. You're not answering the question because the reason is because of the word society. You don't believe society exists. All right. Guys, I'm gonna be on Middle America, and look, Amy and I have a joust about this once a month. Okay, so Amy and I are good. We're good friends. Sometimes she gets in a mood, sometimes I get in a mood, and you guys are lucky. You're lucky to witness this. But I'm gonna be on Middle America covering this shooting of this guy because unfortunately. It wasn't enough that he made the political statement that he was going to go to the FBI building to fight for the Fuhrer, but he had to continue that. Okay. Much love to all you beautiful people. Yeah, it does remind me of the days of Lilo for sure. I do remember that. Johnny Melancholy in the house. Good to see you, Johnny Melancholy. I love cornbread too. I wish I had some on me actually today. That would be badass. Much love to everybody. Peace to the gods. I'm going to be on the other side of the situation. Vin out.
Sori